My beloved friends, let us begin this journey together with one simple yet profound truth: call on God first before anyone else. In a world that constantly demands our attention, phones buzzing, schedules pulling us, people needing us, it becomes far too easy to let the voice of God be drowned out by the noise of life. Yet, if we would learn the discipline and the delight of turning to Him first in the morning, we would see our days, our choices, and even our destiny transformed in ways we cannot imagine. Calling on God first is not a ritual, nor is it a burden. It is a privilege, a divine invitation to connect with the Creator of the universe, the one who holds every answer, every solution, and every path we seek. The moment your eyes open in the morning, before the weight of the day presses upon you, you have the chance to whisper, "Lord, I need you today." That one moment of surrender can become the anchor that keeps you steady through storms, through pressures, and through uncertainties. Think about it. We often wake up and reach for our phones. We scroll through messages, news, and updates. Before we even take our first step, we have already filled our minds with voices, distractions, and sometimes anxiety. But imagine how different life would be if your first instinct was not to scroll, but to kneel, not to check notifications, but to check in with heaven. That shift changes everything, because when you call on God first, you are no longer reacting to the world. You are leading your day from a place of divine strength. The scripture says, "But seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things will be added to you." This is not a casual suggestion, it is a divine principle. When you put God first, everything else aligns. When you put God first, your mind becomes sharp, your spirit becomes calm, and your heart becomes fearless. Seeking Him first does not mean that your problems vanish, but it does mean you are equipped with wisdom and courage to face them. Many people begin their day by calling on friends, colleagues, or even family for advice and comfort. And while human support is a gift, it is never meant to replace divine guidance. People can encourage you, but they cannot fill you. They can give you words, but they cannot grant you peace. They can share their opinions, but they cannot direct your destiny. Only God can do that. Only God knows the hidden details of your life. Only God sees the unseen battles. Only God knows the future He has prepared for you. So why not call on Him first? Why not go to the source before going to the resource? Calling on God in the morning is like setting your compass before the journey. Without it, you might still walk, but you will wander. With it, every step has direction, every decision has clarity, every challenge has hope. That is why prayer is not an obligation, it is oxygen for the soul. You cannot survive spiritually without it. You cannot thrive emotionally without it. You cannot succeed in true peace without it. The world will teach you to rely on your own strength, but God reminds you, not by might, not by power, but by my Spirit. Think of the great men and women of faith. David, the shepherd boy who became king, declared, "In the morning, Lord, you hear my voice. In the morning I lay my requests before you and wait expectantly." Daniel prayed 3 times a day, regardless of the threats against him, and God shut the mouths of lions. Jesus Himself often withdrew early in the morning to pray. Even though He was the Son of God, if He, being divine, needed communion with the Father, how much more do we? And prayer does not need to be complicated. You don't need perfect words. You don't need long speeches. You only need a sincere heart, a simple "Thank you, Lord, for this day. Guide me, protect me, strengthen me," is enough to invite heaven's power into your life. God is not looking for eloquence. He is looking for honesty. He is not impressed by performance. He is moved by surrender. When you call on God first, you build resilience. Life will test you. Trials will come. People will disappoint you. But when your strength comes from the Lord, you cannot be shaken. You can lose things, but you will not lose yourself. You can face storms, but you will not drown. You can walk through valleys, but you will not be consumed. For the Lord is your shepherd, your shield, your refuge, your deliverer. Calling on him first secures you in his unshakable hands. Now imagine this on a larger scale. Imagine homes where families begin the day with God. Imagine businesses where leaders seek his wisdom before making decisions. Imagine communities where people pause to pray before reacting in anger. Imagine nations where the first voice consulted is the voice of God. What transformation, what peace, what healing we would witness. Because when God is first, order follows. When God is first, blessings flow. When God is first, hearts align with purpose. Let us also remember calling on God first is not only about asking, it is about listening. Too often we treat prayer as a list of requests, a one-way conversation. But God also speaks. He whispers direction. He gives impressions. He aligns circumstances. He opens and closes doors. And the only way to hear his gentle voice is to quiet the noise around you. That is why mornings are so powerful. The world is still asleep, distractions are fewer, and your heart is fresh. In that stillness, God can speak clearly, and his words will carry you throughout the day. But here is the challenge: you will always have reasons not to pray. You will always feel rushed. You will always feel tired. There will always be something urgent demanding your attention. And that is exactly why prayer must be intentional. If you wait until you feel like praying, you may never pray. If you wait until life is calm, you may never pray. But if you discipline yourself to put God first, that discipline becomes delight, and that delight becomes your lifestyle. There is an enemy who does not want you to pray. He knows that if you connect with God first, you will walk in power and confidence in wisdom. He knows that a praying person is unstoppable, unshakable, and unafraid. So he will distract you, discourage you, delay you. But do not give him victory. Choose prayer over procrastination. Choose God over gadgets. Choose peace over pressure. For in the presence of God is fullness of joy, and at his right hand are pleasures forevermore. And my friends, let us not only call on God for ourselves, let us intercede for others. Pray for your family, pray for your leaders. Pray for the broken, the sick, the lost. When you lift others before God, you not only bless them, you enlarge your own heart. Prayer shifts atmospheres, breaks chains, heals wounds, and opens doors. Do not underestimate the power of one whispered prayer in the morning. It can ripple through eternity. Calling on God first also brings humility. It reminds you that you are not the center of the universe, he is. It teaches you dependence, not on your abilities, but on his grace. It keeps pride from taking root and fear from taking control. Every morning you pray, you declare, Lord, I cannot, but you can. I do not know, but you do. I am weak, but you are strong. And in that declaration lies the secret to a victorious life. So I urge you today, build this habit. Make it sacred. Guard it fiercely. Let nothing take the place of your morning time with God, whether it is 5 minutes or 50, whether in silence or in song, whether with tears or with joy, give him your first. Because the way you start your day determines how you live your day. And the way you live your days determines the legacy you leave behind. And remember, calling on God first is not only for the morning. It is for every season. When you face decisions, call on him before consulting others. When you face battles, call on him before panicking. When you receive blessings, call on him with gratitude before boasting. In every situation, go to God first. Because when you call on him, you are not imposing on his time, you are stepping into his timeless presence. Beloved, there will be days when you stumble. There will be mornings you forget. Do not let guilt consume you. God is not keeping a checklist. He is keeping the door open. Every time you return, he welcomes you. Every time you whisper his name, he listens. Every time you call, he answers. For he promised, Call unto me, and I will answer you, and show you great and mighty things which you do not know. So rise each morning with faith. Open your eyes and open your heart. Whisper his name before you whisper to anyone else. Seek his face before you seek solutions. Call on God first, and watch how your life begins to shift. Watch how peace replaces panic, clarity replaces confusion, strength replaces weakness, and purpose replaces wandering. For when God is first, everything else finds its rightful place. And as I bring this to a close, let me speak this over your life. May your mornings be filled with prayer, your days with divine direction, and your nights with peace. May you never lack the courage to seek God first, nor the wisdom to listen when he speaks. May your life become a testimony of what happens when ordinary people place their trust in an extraordinary God. And may you rise each day knowing that the most powerful thing you can do is not to check your messages, but to bow your head and say, Lord, lead me today. So let us commit, starting now, not tomorrow, not next week, but today, to call on God first before anyone else. For in him we live, in him we move, and in him we have our being. And with him first, nothing will be impossible. The first keynote is that calling on God first each morning sets the foundation for the entire day, creating a sacred alignment that strengthens your heart, clarifies your mind, and empowers your steps before you interact with the world. Think of the morning as the doorway into everything that will follow. Before people speak into your life, before deadlines and demands begin to press, before problems and pressures arrive at your doorstep, you have the privilege to invite heaven into your heart. That first moment with God is like laying a cornerstone. If it is firm, everything else you build upon it will stand strong. When you call on him first, you are choosing to start not with stress, but with strength, not with confusion, but with clarity, not with fear, but with faith. It is in those quiet, sacred minutes that God steadies your emotions, aligns your thoughts with his promises, and pours fresh courage into your spirit. And because of that alignment, when you finally step out into the noise of the day, you carry peace where others carry panic. You walk with vision where others stumble in uncertainty, and you stand with confidence where others bow under pressure. Morning prayer is not just a routine. It is the difference between living your day in reaction and living it in purpose. When you begin with God, you are not at the mercy of circumstances because you have already received guidance from the one who is Lord over every circumstance. That foundation shapes your conversations, influences your decisions, and protects your heart from being swayed by the distractions and negativity of the world. So, my friends, never underestimate what happens in those first few moments of the morning. To call on God first is to anchor your life in his strength before you face human weakness, to drink deeply from his wisdom before you hear human opinions, and to receive his peace before you encounter the chaos of the day. That is why the strongest, wisest, and most victorious people are not those who begin with themselves, but those who begin with God. The second keynote is that prayer before people brings perspective before pressure, reminding you that your identity, worth, and direction flow from God's presence, not from the opinions or expectations of others. Too often, we rush into our day, and the first voices we hear are the voices of people. Their demands, their judgments, their opinions, their expectations. And without even realizing it, we begin to measure ourselves by what others say about us, by how they treat us, or by what they think of us. But when you pause to pray before you meet people, you anchor yourself in God's truth before the world tries to define you. Prayer recenters you. It reminds you that you are not just another face in the crowd, not just another worker on the clock, not just another person trying to keep up with life's demands. You are a child of God, created with purpose, loved without condition, and guided by his Spirit. That perspective changes everything. Because when you know who you are in Him, you no longer live for approval, you live from acceptance. You no longer fear rejection. You rest in His protection. You no longer chase validation. You walk in the confidence of divine affirmation. When you step into your day without prayer, people's words can easily shake you. Criticism can break you. Expectations can weigh you down. But when you have already heard from God, when you have already been reminded of His promises, you walk into the same situations with unshakable peace. The pressure may still be there, but it no longer controls you. The demands may still come, but they no longer define you. You face people with love and strength because your heart has already been filled in the presence of the Lord. That is why prayer before people is not optional. It is essential. It gives you the right lens to see yourself, the right heart to deal with others, and the right strength to carry your responsibilities. Without it, you are easily swayed. With it, you are firmly grounded. So let every morning become your sacred moment of perspective where God reminds you, you are mine, you are chosen, you are called. And once you carry that truth, no amount of pressure from the world can silence the voice of God within you. The third keynote is that when you prioritize God above everything else, you unlock a life of peace, wisdom, and divine favor, ensuring that every challenge is met with faith, every decision with clarity, and every moment with His guiding hand. You see, priorities determine direction. What you place first in your life sets the tone for everything that follows. When God is at the top, not as an afterthought, not as a backup plan, but as the center of your existence, you begin to experience a supernatural order that the world cannot offer. Peace flows when God is first because His presence drives out fear. Wisdom flows when God is first because His Spirit illuminates paths that human reasoning cannot see. Favor flows when God is first because He opens doors no man can shut and shuts doors that would have led to harm. When you start your day and your life with Him, you are no longer walking blindly. You are being led by the hand of the One who sees the end from the beginning. Think about how many times we rush into challenges without seeking God first. We make decisions, chase opportunities, or respond to problems out of impulse, and later wonder why things fall apart. But when you pause, when you prioritize Him in prayer, you shift from guessing to receiving divine guidance. Instead of stumbling in confusion, you walk with confidence. Instead of being shaken by fear, you rise in faith. Instead of being drained by the weight of life, you are refreshed by the strength of heaven. And the beauty of putting God first is that His blessings overflow into every area of your life. Your relationships gain harmony. Your work gains excellence. Your mind gains clarity. Your spirit gains resilience. Suddenly, even in the face of trials, you are not overwhelmed. You are carried by grace. Even when storms rise, you are not lost. You are anchored in His promises. Even when decisions are difficult, you are not paralyzed. You are guided by His wisdom. This is what it means to live under divine favor. It is not about a life without struggles, but a life where every struggle becomes an opportunity for God's power to shine through you. It is not about avoiding challenges, but about facing them with faith. It is not about having everything easy, but about walking with the assurance that you are never walking alone. When God is your priority, you gain not just a good life, you gain a guided life, a purposeful life, a life that reflects His glory in everything you do. So, my friends, let us never treat God as the last option when He should be our first decision. For when you put Him first, you will discover that every moment of your life is touched by His guiding hand, every challenge is met with His strength, and every step carries you closer to the destiny He has prepared for you.